How you doing there, friends? Today was somewhere in between. Is Bein Hashmoshes. It's Yom Ha'atzmaut Bein Hashmoshes, and oh my gosh, Chevy, the planes, they were flying by. What time? It was like 9:55 in the morning. There's F-35 stealth fighters flying mamish over my house. Why do they call them stealth fighters? Those are probably the loudest things I've heard in my life. Anyways, yeah. Those airplanes, you're just lucky I wasn't recording Babylon Talmud. They went on for like hours. Of course I was home. I was trying to work. I guess they're assuming that people are awake and not working on Yom Ha'atzmaut. I was awake, but I was working. But mamish, you hear these things. This is the loudest thing you heard in your life, and like you can't just sit there and work. You have to like get up and run to the window to see if you can catch a glimpse. But by the time I get up and run to the window, I already missed it. But then it happens again, like 2 minutes later. It's just, yeah. Anyways, but the air show is over, and it's Bein Hashmoshes, and I'm recording Babylon Talmud. Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Lamed, Daf 35, Masechta Sotah. Friends. Alright, we're going to start on Daf Lamed. Chevy. Today there's some famous stuff, Lamaisa. Today there's Gemaras about the spies that went to Eretz Yisrael, and reported back Shtukol Lashon Hara about Eretz Yisrael, where I live. We try to speak positively about Eretz Yisrael. I like to point out that the Paris of Eretz Yisrael are second to none. And the only negative thing I used to have to say about Eretz Yisrael is that the internet was really bad. But now, Baruch Hashem, the internet is really good. So there's nothing bad to say about Eretz Yisrael. I'm thankful to all of the people who made living in Eretz Yisrael possible, and yeah, it's a big zchus to be able to live in Eretz Yisrael here on the 75th anniversary of the State of Israel, the Declaration of Independence. So Givaldig, it's how crazy is it? Mamish on Yom Ha'atzmaut. Well, for me it's Yom Ha'atzmaut, not for you. But in Yom Ha'atzmaut, I'm learning about the opposite, right? The opposite, where there was the spies who came to Eretz Yisrael, and all they had to say about Eretz Yisrael was, right, is that we can't do it. We can't come to Eretz Yisrael. We won't be able to make it. Don't go. And today we commemorate Punkt Verkehrt, people who came here against all odds, and they said, we're going to make it here. We want to come here. We don't want to go anywhere else. There's hardships, there's challenges, but we're coming, and we're going to make it work in Eretz Yisrael. It's a tikkun for the Meraglim, and that is Yom Ha'atzmaut, the 75th birthday, the 75th anniversary of the independence of the modern state of Eretz Yisrael. Okay, fine. Let's go weiter. Daf Lamed Daled Beis, mamish on the day on Yom Ha'atzmaut, where the big tikkun. You have to thank Reb David Ben Gurion and Theodore Herzl and all of those people for making this happen. All right, we're going to start on Daf Lamed Daled Beis, Vayeshuv, all the way at the bottom. Vayeshuv mitorah art. So the spies came back from their spying. Vayelchu vayavo, and they went and they came. So I say vayelchu vayavo, just say vayavo, just say that they came. So Rabbi Yechanan, Mishum ben Yechai, Makish halicha leviyah. It's because we want to compare the going to the coming. Ma'bia be'etzara, just like when they came back with negative news. Lashon hara about Eretz Yisrael, hafalicha be'etzara. They went out milichatchila with negative intentions. Vayisapru vayomer banu v'gomer, and they came. They said to Moses, "Look, you see, we came." Oh, so they said, "Look, we came back, and yeah, it's true, it was good. It was good. Yeah, there was some cool stuff there. We'll save Ephes, but ki azam, the people there, they're too strong. We won't be able to. Rabbi Yechon says, Rabbi Yechon Shemeb Meir, Kol Lashon Hara, Shein Bo Dvar Emes B'tchila, so Ein Meskayim B'Sofo. Any Lashon Hara that you don't have at least a ingredient, a shmek, a shtickle of truth in there. If it's completely false, nobody's gonna listen. But you start off good, right? It started yeah, it's true. It's flowing with milk and honey. These are the fruits. But the people there, they're very strong. We don't have a chance. Vayas Kalev Moshe, and Kalev silenced the people on Moshe, to Moshe. Omer Rabba, says Rabba Sheisisam B'dvarim, that he got them all riled up because he recognized that Pasach Yoshua the Kamishtai, because he noticed that when Joshua went to speak, to open his mouth to say Epis, Amrele, the mob, they said to Joshua, Dain Rosh Ketia Yamalal, what this person who's cut off is going to speak, because Yoshua didn't have any children. So, or at least at that time, did he have children afterwards? I don't know, but at least at that time, he didn't have any children. So they said, what, this childless person is going to tell us what to do. So Kalev figured, if I open my mouth, I may be milta. They're just going to shut me up. So he devised the plan, and he says, is this the only thing that Ben Amram, the son of Amram, like kind of a derogatory way to refer to Moses, is this the only thing that Moses has done to us? So they thought that he was going to speak ill against Moses, and so all right, yeah, we're down to hear some dirt on Moses. Ishtikus, they all kept quiet. They wanted to hear what Kalev was going to say. Omarlu, and then he changed his tune and he said, he took us out of Egypt. He split the sea. And he fed us manna. Even if he says something as crazy as build ladders and climb up to the heavens, would we not do it? We'll do whatever Moses says. Let us go up, and we will succeed, in capturing and in succeeding going into Eretz Yisrael. But the spy says we can't. The attitude of the spy, right? Kalev is saying we can, right? We can do it. Don't listen. What are you getting scared about? We can do it. We can succeed. And the spies say, no, we can't. They says, no, we can't. Omer Reb Chanina by Pope, Darvagodol Dibur Meraglim. Reb Chanina by Pope says that the Meraglim said something crazy. That when it says Ki chazaku mimenu, atikri mimenu elu mimenu. Don't read it mimenu, rather mimenu. That's the same thing. But don't read it like Ki chazaku mimenu, that the people are stronger than us, rather mimenu, than him, than the Eibishter. Kaviyachal afilu balabais and yochal otzi kelev misham. As if they're saying that the Eibishter is unable to rid to clear out these people from there. I wonder if we can make a vort over here, meaning Kalev has a can-do attitude, but all the Meraglim have this pessimistic, no, sorry, I can't do it, no can do, sorry, I can't help you, malasot kind of attitude. And maybe what Reb Chanina Bar Papa is saying, that if a person has that kind of attitude, I can't, it's basically saying, it's as if you're saying that the Eibishter can't. Maybe. Or maybe that was just the Meraglim. But either way, you don't want to have that kind of attitude, I can't. Of course, how are you supposed to do anything in life if all you ever say is I can't? We need to have a Caleb kind of attitude, an attitude Oloi Nailev Yarashnu. That we're going to go, we could do it. We can go, it's like David Ben Gurion and the early Zionists. And they said, we can come here. And we can make a life for ourselves over here. And sure enough, 75 years later, F-35 stealth fighters flying over my apartment at 9:55 in the morning while I'm trying to work. Alright. Alright. Where are we? Alright. Eretz Ocheles Yoshvei. It's a land that eats its inhabitants. Darish Rava expounded, Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter says, Ani chashavti al tova. Yeah, it's true. Everywhere they went, they were burying their dead. But the Eibishter says, I did them a favor by doing that so that they wouldn't be suspected, detected, and found and killed. I had good intentions, Ve'im chashava l'ra, and all they could think about was the negative. Ani chashavti al tova. I thought it was a good zach. D'chol heicha dematu meis chashividitu, that every place where the spies visited, somebody important had died there to distract the people. So that the people would be so busy mourning their dead that they wouldn't ask too many questions about who these spies are. Those who say that Job Taka died, and everybody was busy with the eulogies, right, and they didn't notice the spies, but but the spies, of course, thought about it pessimistically. Eretz Ocheles Yoshvei, that it's a land that consumes its inhabitants. We were in our own eyes like grasshoppers, and we were also in their eyes like grasshoppers. Omar Rav Misharsha Miraglim Shikrei Havu, and says Rav Misharsha that the spies were a bunch of liars. Bishlomo Vani Beinenu Kachagavim. Said, okay, I understand why they could say that we were in our own eyes like grasshoppers. Okay, but said it, they were in their own eyes like grasshoppers. I don't know why they want to be like grasshoppers in their own eyes, but if they are, they are. What do you want me to tell you? But how did they know that they were grasshoppers in the eyes of the other people? So, Veloi, the truth is, right, so therefore, Rav Hamnuna wants to say, based on the fact that they're saying that not only we were grasshoppers in our eyes, we were grasshoppers in their eyes too. How did they know it? There must be a bunch of liars. The Gemara says it's not actually true. They did know, because ki avu mavre avele tu se'aroze havu mavre, that in Eretz Yisrael, when these people were giving us, feeding the mourners a Sotah savra, right, the first meal after the burial, that when other people feed you, they bring food for you. So during this meal, so they would have this meal under cedar trees, and when they would see the spies, salku yasve be'ilne, so the spies would quickly run away, scurry away to the trees, away from the people that they shouldn't be detected. Shami de ka'amre, and the spies heard that the giants over there were saying, kochaziran inche dedamu lekamtze be'ilne. We saw people. Like it was like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right? They were saying we saw these like little tiny ant-sized people. And then all the people started crying. Says that day, Erev Tisha B'Av, it was the eve of Tisha B'Av. And the Eibishter says, they cried for no reason. They were being a bunch of nudniks over here with the spies on Erev Tisha B'Av. I'm going to make Tisha B'Av, I'm going to make this day a day of mourning and crying for all generations. And that was the first Tisha B'Av. And all the people wanted to stone Yoshua and Kalev. And it says, and the honor of God was visible in the tent of meeting. Says that they took stones and they threw it in the direction of the heavens, upwards. And the people who spoke Lashon Hara against Eretz Yisrael, they died in a plague. That they died a strange, peculiar death, a unusual death. That the teachers that their tongues went and they got really long until they reached their belly buttons. And there were worms that were coming out of their tongues and were going to their belly buttons. V'nichnosus b'lshonim, and from their navels there were these worms that would go into their tongues. Yuck. Reb Nachman bar Yitzchak ba'askra mesu. Whereas Reb Nachman bar Yitzchak says it's taka askra, which is chaval. It's a chaval death. I think we learned in Masechta Brachos that there are 903 ways to die. Askra is the worst way. So yuck. And when the last of Israel, when the last Israelite left the Jordan, the waters went back to flow regularly once again. Shneimar, as the Pasuk says, and it was when the priests who were carrying the Ark of the Covenant of God, when they exited from the Jordan, nisku kapos nisku nosku. Excuse me, 1 second. Let me look this up. Nitku kapos ragle akanim elacharova, and then the feet of the priests went into the dry land. Vayeshuvim mei hayarden lemkomam, and the waters of the Jordan returned to their place. Vayelchu kismol shilshom, and they flowed like they always had. Al kol gdosav, on all of its banks. Nimtza aron v'nosav akayanim. So interestingly, what happened was, right, how did the Jordan split? Well, the priests went into the Jordan split. Now they're still standing by the shore of the Jordan. The water was split, all the Jews went through, and then the Kohanim stepped back out of the Jordan, but they were on the original side, right? Meaning they had initially just stepped into the Jordan when it split, and then they stepped back out. But now all the Jews were in Eretz Yisrael, and they were still on Ever Yarden. They were still on the other side of the Jordan now. So Nosa Aron es Nosa v'Over. So the ark lifted up the priests and carried them over transported them over the Jordan. Shneimar, as the Pasuk says, Vayikasher Tom Kol Ha'am Lavor, and it was when the nation completed passing through the Jordan, Vayavor Aron Hashem ve'akayanim l'fnei ha'am, and then the ark of God and the priests then passed before the nation. V'chol ve'al dover zeh nenash Uzzah. Okay, and regarding this, Uzzah was punished, right? Because we see over here that the ark carried the priests, and it was on a similar thing that Uzzah was punished. And then as the Apostle says, "Ve'evo ad Gerin Kidon," that it was when the ark was brought back from the Philistines, and they were bringing it. So it's they went to the granary of Kidon. Vayishlach Uzzah es yado lechos es Aaron, and then Uzzah went to take hold of the ark. Amallah Kadosh Baruch, when the Eibishter says to Uzzah, Nosav Nasa Atzma L'Kol Sheken, the ark was able to carry those who carried it, right? Was able to carry the priests across the Jordan. Atzma L'Kol Sheken, don't you think that it's capable of carrying itself? Why do you think that you need to touch it? Vayichar Afashem b'Uzzah, and the Eibishter got upset at Uzzah. Vayakeu Sham al Shal v'Gomer, and he fell and he was smitten there. So what does it mean al Shal? So Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Elazar Chad Omer al Iskei Shalu. One says it was he got smitten on account of he got stricken on account of his mistake that he accidentally touched it. One says because he defecated in front of the ark. Now that doesn't sound very appropriate. Vayamos Sham im Aron Elokim, and he died over there with the ark of God. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Uzzah ba la'olam haba, says Rabbi Yochanan that Uzzah came to the world to come, arrived in the world to come. Shenemar, as the Pasuk says, im Aron Elokim, that he died therein with the ark. Ma'aron la'olam kayim af Uzzah ba la'olam haba. Just like the ark is eternal, so also Uzzah arrived in the world to come. Vayichar LeDavid al asher parts Hashem peretz b'Uzzah. David he got upset because of what happened to Uzzah. Amr Belazar shenishtin upanav kacharara, that his face turned like a black, like a some kind of a biscuit that you cook on coals. So what does that mean? That whenever it says vayichar, it means that it was like a darkened biscuit, like a burnt biscuit. So also ksiv af, achaloksiv af. Well, no. If it says vayichar af, it doesn't mean that they became like a biscuit. But over here it doesn't say af, it just says vayichar. So it's like a charor, it's like it became like a biscuit. What do you want me to tell you? Alright. Darish Rav expanded. David. How come David was punished? Shekara the Divrei Zmiris, because he called the words of Torah Zmiris. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Zmiris hayu li chukecha beveis megurai, that your statutes were to me like Zmiris, that were like songs. So I'm like Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter says to David, Divrei Torah, about which it says that you move away from it for a second and you lose it, that it's serious business, that you have to be paying attention to Divrei Torah and you have to take them very seriously. And you're just calling them like Zmiris, like a niggin. So where am I? So I'll teach you how serious business this is, that you're going to make a mistake by something that even basic kids know, and you're going to make a mistake in. Tichsiv, as the apostle says, that to the children of Kahas, he did not give wagons because they were dealing with the holiest stuff, right? The children of Kahas, they carried the Aron and the Shulchan and the Menorah. So therefore, Bakosef, you saw, it says that they didn't get wagons and oxen. They had to carry it themselves. But David was transporting the ark with wagons, but that's not the proper way to do it. You need to carry it properly. All right. So it says that when the ark arrived on its way back from the Philistines, it arrived in Beit Shemesh, and David just smote the people of Beit Shemesh because they looked at the ark. Mishum de Ro Vayachwat, because they looked at the ark. That's why they got smitten. Rabbi Bov, Rabbi Lozer, Chad Omer, Kotzun, Umshtachvim Hayu. One opinion is that they didn't stop working for even 1 minute. Right, the ark is coming back from being captured by the Philistines, and they looked at the ark, but while they continued to harvest, they didn't really take a break. V'chad Omar, the other opinion is Milei Nami Omar. They also spoke inappropriately to the ark. Man Amorich de Amrias, right? They said to the ark, what were you getting so upset about that you refused to come back? Man also Oloch de Afyast, and what changed that all of a sudden you got appeased and you decided to come back. Vayach ba'om shivim ish. And the Eibishter smote from the nation 70 people, v'chamishim elef ish, and 50,000 people. Rabbi Bov, Rabbi Lozer, Chad Omer shivim ish, hayu. One opinion is that it was 70 people. V'chol echad be'echad shakul kachmishim elef, but each one of those 70 was as important as significant as 50,000. V'chad Omer chamishim elef hayu. One opinion is that 50,000 died. V'chol echad be'echad shakul kashivim sanedrin, and each one of those 50,000 was as significant as the entire 70 person Sanhedrin court. Vayiki tzadu nose aron Hashem shisa tzadim. That's a niggin by Omek Kadaver. You guys know the band Omek Kadaver? It's this is a niggin. Reb David Weinberg sings this niggin. Vayiki tzadu nose aron Hashem. That it was when the people carrying the ark of God were taking their steps. Every six steps, they would sacrifice an ox and what's a Marie? I don't know, an ox and some other animal. And it says 7 cows and 7 rams. Every single step that they took, they would slaughter and sacrifice a shor and a mari. And then every 6 steps, they would then sacrifice 7 cows and 7 rams. If that was, you're gonna have to fill up the entire land of Israel with altars to be able to handle that quantity of sacrifices. Ella Omer Rav Chizda al kol sheish v'sheish psiyas shor mari. Every 6 steps was an ox and a mari. What's that, like a lamb or some other slaughterable animal? Al kol shisha sdarim sheish psiyos, and then every 6 group of 6 steps. So after, I guess, 36 steps, Shiva Parim v'Shiva Elim, 7 cows and 7 rams. Ksiv Kidon u'Ksiv Nachon. In one place it says that the ark was brought to Kidon. In the other place it says that the ark was brought to Nachon. So Amr Rabbi Yochanan Batchila Kidon v'Sof Nachon. First it was like a Kidon, like a spear, because like people were dying because of it. But in the end, after it spent time at by Ovid Edom, so then it became Taka good, and Ovid Edom's house was blessed for storing the housing the ark. Okay, so there were 3. Going back to these, crossing of the Jordan. So there were stones that they set up. So there were 3 groups of stones that they set up. One set of stones that Moses set up in the land of Moab. Shenemar, as the Apostle says, Be'evar Yarden Be'eretz Moab, that in the land of Moab, on outside of Eretz Yisrael, on the other side of the Jordan, Moshe Be'er v'Gomer, Moshe began to explain the Torah. And another pasuk says regarding the stones that will be set up later in Eretz Yisrael and Grizim Har Ezel v'Chasavta and Har Evel v'Chasavta Aleim is called Divrei Torah Azos v'Gomer, and then at the end it says Ba'er Heitev. So just like over there by Ba'er, right? Va'asya Ba'er Be'er. Just like by Ba'er it's talking about stones. So also when it says Moshe Be'er, it's talking about stones, that there were a group of stones in Evar Yarden on the other side of the Jordan. Ve'echot shehekim Yoshua b'socha Yarden, and then one group of stones that Joshua set up in the Jordan. Shneimar u'shtei mesri avonim hekim Yoshua b'socha Yarden, that Joshua set up 12 stones in the Jordan. Ve'echot shehekim ba'Gilgal, and then another group in Gilgal. Shneimar, as the Apostle says, v'shtei mesri avonim ha'ela asher lakhu v'gomer, that the 12 stones that they schlepped with them from the Jordan, they set up in Gilgal. Ketzad Tam Tanarban Ketzad Kosav Yisrael Satera. How did the Yidden write the Torah? Rabbi Yehuda Omer Al Gabi Avonim Ksavos. Rabbi Yehuda says that they wrote the Torah on these stones. Shenemar v'chasavta al avonim is called Divrei Torah Azos v'Gomer, that you'll write on the stones, you'll etch into the stones the Torah. Ve'achar kach sadu osim basid. And after the Torah was etched into the stones, they covered the stones with lime. Omer, I think lime or plaster. Excuse me, one second. Plaster. Is that the same thing? Is lime and plaster the same thing? I don't know. Okay, plaster. Where am I? Okay, then they covered it with plaster. Okay. Omar lo, one second. Okay, fine. Omar lo Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says to Reb Yehuda, L'dvarecha heach lamdu umis shel osos ma'azman Torah. How did the other nations of the time, how were they able to study the Torah if it was covered over in plaster? So Rabbi Yehuda says that's no problem. The Eibishter gave them extra understanding. They sent their scribes and they removed the plaster and brought back the plaster that had with the etchings. And on account of this, that is why they have to go to the pit of destruction, because they could have learned. They had these, they had the Torah available to them. It was etched into the stone that was covered with the plaster, and they took back the plaster, but they didn't learn nonetheless. That's why they will descend to a fiery pit. Or what was it? A destruction, pit of destruction. Rabbi Shimon Omer says, Rabbi Shimon Agabi Sid Ksavua. No, that they etched the Torah into the Sid, into the plaster. Lemata, and then beneath that they wrote Lemana Shalo Yomudu Eschem Leman Shalo Yilamdu. I think Leman Shalo Yilamdu Eschem Lasos V'Kichov V'Gomer. The Torah says that you have to get rid of the 7 nations, so that because otherwise they'll teach you to do like their getchkes, like their avodah zarah. But that implies, says Reb Shimon, argues, implying that look, the reason why we have to get rid of them is that they don't teach us to do avodah zarah. If they do tshuva, according to Reb Shimon, if they do tshuva, you could then beseder. As long as they're not doing avodah zarah, then it's okay. I'm Rav Bar Shila, my time with Reb Shimon. How come Reb Shimon says this? Because the pasuk says, "Vayu amim misrfos sid," that the nations will be like burnings of plaster. Aliska Sid regard on the matters of Sid, on the matters of plaster, on the matter of what it says on the plaster. Okay, on kind of what it says on the plaster. But if they do tshuva, then it's okay. For Rabbi Yehuda, kisid, whereas Rabbi Yehuda says no, not in the kind of what it says in the plaster, but like plaster. Masid ein lo takona, just like this plaster has no way to fix it. Ela streifa, you have to burn it. Af osam akusim ein lo takona ela streifa. Also those kutites, there was not much that there's not much you could do. There's no tshuva there, just burning. K'man azlo adatanya, like who does the following brayso go v'shavisa shivyo, that if you go to Milchemes HaRishus, that if you go to wage war, so then l'rabos Kanaanim shebuchutz la'ad shemchozim tshuva mekablan oson, that Kanaanis who live outside of Israel, if they do tshuva, then you can accept them. K'man Reb Shimon, that's the Reb Shimon who says that if they do tshuva, you can accept them. Friends, that was daf Lamed Hey of Masechta Sotah. Interesting daf. Some very famous gemaras at the beginning about the Meraglim and the sin of the spies, and then after that we sort of go weiter with the Yidden crossing the Jordan. Friends, that was daf Lamed Hey of Masechta Sotah. Hope you enjoy. Peace out.